if I lost a board game, I was tearing up the cards. Like I was a terror. You could tell which Monopoly cards were bad because they had rips in them. And I would try to draw a picture. And if it didn't look exactly like the photograph, I would have a complete meltdown. And then I was 2 years old at the time. Yeah. Somehow you have to get that kid to stop doing that over time. Maybe age does it on its own, but I think we do all know people who do emotionally overreact and they are quick to violence or quick to tears. And I think in the same way that my emotional reactions are on the low end of what you'd expect for any given situation, you know, I can get punched in the face and have my nose broken. And I'm just like mildly mad at it. But there's also the other end of the spectrum, which is the guys who his hockey team loses and he gets blackout drunk and punches a stranger.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, you can't just train a kid to lean into his emotions at all times. And I don't know how to walk that line, you know? And I'm trying to figure it out. It's easy for myself now. I'm 34. I know how to walk the line because I'm not going to be the guy who gets mad and punches a hole in the wall. So I can allow myself to lean a little bit more towards my emotions because I know I'll never miss long in that way. But for raising a kid who's 10, I have no idea how one helps that child become an adult who feels their feelings and doesn't hate their feelings, but also isn't on that other end of the spectrum where they cry at everything, where the first mean word destroys them. I mean, even successful people, they can be in the office and they get one critical word and they're just done, you know, near tears. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer. Never once for a day in my life have I researched how to be a good parent. So
yeah, and then perhaps everyone's different. Like I said, don't know.
It's also funny because I think, and we've talked about this, like you'd love to have had a perfect childhood with perfect parents. That would be great. You turned out pretty good. You know, like I wish the molestation had never happened to you, but in terms of your parenting and your relationship with them, because they didn't do it, let's repeat that for people who have not seen the original episode. They created a smart, intelligent, happy person who was able to make his own path and achieve great success his own way. You know, like I think you've had a really solid go of it, you know? So I think simultaneously they could have done things better, but also like you turned out really well and your life is really good, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a tough balance. And I'm not invalidating the fact that you think they did something wrong, but it's like, as someone who's thinking about being a parent, I don't know, if you were my kid, I'd be like, all right, I fucked some shit up, but I did pretty well.
Well, yeah, you know, what's interesting is that, and I don't know, maybe I spoke in such a way, is that as you're listening is like, almost like trying to give a grade overall. Like I did pretty good. And
no, I'm just saying that's how I would feel.
So
like I'd be proud if my kid turned out like you know? So I think you can simultaneously as a parent be like, yeah, there's things I would have done differently. If in hindsight, no one gave me a book on how to be a parent.
Yeah.
I just got someone pregnant. All I did was the genetic thing. You know, your parents got married first, which is cool. But at the end of the day, like the only qualifying factor of having a kid is just ejaculating into somebody who's fertile. So I think all parents could have done something better. And that's not to invalidate that by not doing everything the right way, they gave you a bunch of stuff that you are having to do a lot of work to let go of. And at the same time, as someone who's really scared of parenting because I'm worried of how my kid will turn out, I'm like terrified that I'll be a bad parent. I don't know. This is like a pretty solid amount of mistakes to have made, I guess, from the parent's perspective.
Sure. And again, I'm floating around something that I hear you saying that because what I'm hearing, and I know, one, I appreciate because I can sometimes talk and not give them the credit. I also hear something in you that I felt in myself, which was this reflexive jump to protect them. And I guess one of the overall things, and let me know if I'm misunderstanding, or to explain or justify.
I'm setting myself up to be kind to myself, man.
Yeah.
I'm setting myself to be kind to myself as a parent. Your parents have been parents for 34 years.
Yeah.
Of course they've had things that they didn't do optimally. Mm-hmm. Like I have to be empathetic to them if I'm ever going to be empathetic to myself. This is something my psychedelics have taught me. It's like for me to judge other people, I have to judge myself just as harshly. And so I think like, as I sit here and listen, I guess I'm just trying to like, for people that don't know your parents, for myself, for your parents who I know watch this, and for you, just kind of be like, yeah, I think this is all right. It's all valid. Nothing I'm saying invalidates it, but also I've never gotten anything perfect ever. No parent's ever going to get parenting perfect ever. Like, I think there's a trauma just like is. I think people fight back on that, but my opinion is that everyone has some amount of trauma. It can be a little, it can be a lot. And again, yeah, this has nothing to do with the fact that you were molested, which I think is awful. This is more just in terms of your parents raising you. And
this is something that I'm still working on in my life, but I sensed it in this conversation. I sensed it in MDMA, is that you're like, I have to, because I want to be kind to myself. What I was seeking in that experience with my parents was not judgment, nor was it punishment, not in the slightest. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a reason at all to withdraw my love. In fact, what I felt like I was doing was like expressing the deep faith that I had in them by trusting them enough to tell them how much I was disappointed in them, which was like an overarching meta act of like, this is how much I love you. Like you guys could screw up to the end of the world and I would love you, and you haven't.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, stepping back to the original thing I commented on, it like maybe your parents could have used more giving you emotional space. But I don't think the answer is always that when your kid is having an emotional reaction, to give them space, take ownership of it. Like at some point you have to be like, I get that you wanted chocolate ice cream and they're sold out. You're flipping out in the supermarket. This is not going to work out. Having this level of a reaction is not going to work out. So I think you had just said something along the lines of like, when you're a parent, you want to learn how to just create space for an emotion and just accept it. And I'm saying that's a good skill to have, not just for kids, for everyone, for every person in your life. I'm sure that would be very well received. When you are in charge of a kid, I think you also do at some point have to be like, all right, well, we got to get this guy from toddler to adult in a way where he's not, when his hockey team loses, punching people in the face about it. Mm-hmm.
Totally. I agree very much with the need to socialize a kid, and also like, yeah, they did fantastic and all of that. Part of what I'm experiencing with myself, and I think this is like, if I even were to list a litany of all the things that they messed up and not pepper in all the good things, at least for me right now, that doesn't invalidate for a second how appreciative and how much love I have. And I think what I was experiencing trying to create space for, and I don't, I feel a little bit in this because I think that maybe you're a little bit of the same, and you're also trying to protect future Ben from future.
It's also got an audience of strangers that don't know you, that don't know your parents.
To have more space to express a negative emotion with a trusted underlying feeling of love without having to like reassure that as often was something that was helpful for me in the experience. And I do think my parents, as they watch, hopefully recognize that. Like, even if I were to sit here and talk about all like what I feel, and I don't know if they feel it, is that I actually feel more secure in the relationship that we have and the love that we have. So secure that I could spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes being really critical without saying a nice thing, and it's like still fucking locked in and stable.
I'm sure they feel that.
Yeah. So in any event, and also like it wasn't, I had no point that I want to punish them. I wanted, what I felt, the feeling was like, I want you to get what's going on inside of me without fears that it will reflect negatively on how you performed. And that's, I think, I know for me, that's really tough for me. It's really tough to hear criticism from anybody, I imagine, especially a kid, and go, I'm going to take this opportunity just to feel what you're feeling, totally empathize with you, and not reflect on what a fuck up I am. That's like so hard, but I think it was good. Because of, the therapists and all the support that we had, I was able to get that, which was like really nice. So other people in my family had other stuff for them, which was theirs that I won't comment on, but overall it was, as I reflect on what it was, I think it was for me a proper accounting of, it was a lot of truth telling, like, this hurt me, I hurt you. And it was like a proper accounting of like, I've been way too involved in this relationship and not involved enough in this relationship. And I need to do a better job here, and I need to trust you more to do a better job here. And Yeah, but overall, I think underscored, again, not going to be true of everybody, but I did have a large portion of my life where, as much as I love my family, I was all like, friends are family, and friends are fucking fantastic and super important. For me, and I don't know if this is going to be true of everybody, this is just an N of one, is that it was really important for me to go back and tell the truth that I told and share these relationships, mend them, fix them. They don't replace my friendships at all. In fact, I don't even think they compete with them. They're just like on a different spectrum or whatever. But it was very important to do that for me with my family. And if you're out there and something inside you is going, maybe me too, it's possible that is the case for you. Though I don't think it's a guarantee for everybody. Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.